This is a tragedy of just enormous proportion. When you think that here we have an illegal alien who is here in this country, who's overstayed his visa, no real enforcement there. It's a real problem. Here he is, a gentleman from Egypt, and just all the things that played out. So tragic. And then, as you say, on top of what we just witnessed, not even 2 weeks ago, we were there at the Capitol that night in the process of dealing with the big, beautiful bill, when suddenly we heard all of these sirens going, had no idea where they were going to, and would later find out that very evening that gunned down with these two incredible young people right there at the Jewish Museum. And listen, when we say never again, we need to mean never again. And it's going to take some real serious enforcement and serious commitment to it. And I believe President Trump is doing everything he can to point us in that direction. I think, thank God, we've got a Justice Department that is taking action and is beginning to move the needle. And so, again, our heart goes out to all of the families, all of the victims, and we've got to see an awakening in this country.
What do you mean by that? Because again, we say never again, and it always happens. And in this case, you've got what they nearly burned down the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania. You've got the two Israeli diplomats gunned down in the streets of Washington. Now they're setting fire to elderly Jews on the streets of Boulder, Colorado. At what point do we take action? And Congressman, what does that even look like? What are we talking about here?
Well, I think we've got to start with what's happening on these college campuses. We've got to start with the pro-Hamas people that have infiltrated and are part of this culture. We've got to call that out. And listen, we had a hearing several weeks ago with the college presidents talking about the things that had gone on their college campuses. One of them wouldn't even answer the questions of what was actually done to the students that were involved in these activities. And listen, others said they had learned from their experiences and they were moving to make sure that these things did not happen again. And listen, it's calling people into account. I think what President Trump is doing with Harvard University right now is trying to call that into account. And people have got to understand that these are the kind of things that would be a great place to start. We cannot allow this infiltration of our culture and society with these hate groups and these known terrorist organizations.
Do you believe that the foreign nationals that are here in this country, they're going to school here, they're out there protesting, they're chanting from the river to the sea, free Palestine. Do those people need to be deported from the country?
I think that they need to be investigated at a minimum. And I think if we find the things that we may very well expect to find, listen, we're probably just touched the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to find out about this Egyptian that carried out this. In fact, I've learned throughout the day, I've been hearing bits and pieces that he'd been planning this for over a year. And again, when you dig in, I can only imagine that they're going to find more and more red flags that came up and an activity that was not done in the last year that should have been done by a Justice Department that unfortunately was involved in lawfare and everything else instead of doing the things they needed to be doing.
All right. Well, Congressman, we're going to have to leave it there. And again, we appreciate your time on Newsmax this evening. Thank you.